Minneapolis and Somalia, two worlds that couldn't be further apart, politically, socioeconomically, and most obvious, culturally. My name is Mustafa Hassan, a Canadian-born Somali. I have lived in Minneapolis for the last 8 years, and every day I traverse the huge gap that lies between my two cultures. I, along with many other young Somalis, must now face a difficult question. Do we sacrifice one culture to assimilate into the other? And if we do, what problems arise? Will new issues like teen pregnancy, drug usage, and alcoholism find their way into the Somali community? And if they already have, how big have these problems become?
It's like a fucking virus.
Yeah.
It's spreading quick as fuck. Like you hang out with your crowd ends up everybody drinking. And they tell you, hey, come take a sip of this. Next thing you know, you're addicted to it.
If you were like just lived in Cedar, like most of the kids are, and like everybody you know is doing something, then the peer pressure is more than the parents or somebody else telling you what not to do. The wrong way is to tell them not to do it. If you explain to them what it is that you try not to, for them not to do, it's better because they will understand what you're trying to tell them. But when you just tell them not to do this, drinking is bad, don't do it. They're like, everybody drinks. Why is it so bad? I know 100 people drink. This old man or woman that don't know what they're talking about.
You know, I went to a suburban high school where the focus there and the ideal was that everyone should be going to like a good school, get into a good school, finish by the time they're supposed to graduate, and then buy a house, get married, you know, quickly. You know, I mean that was the ideal. And I took that, you know, with full stride, and that's what I want to do. But you know, some of my other friends were a different route, where they saw the hip hop and more, you know, African American culture. I see it's not. I don't want to be, you know, stereotypical. I don't want to say African American culture is bringing down the Somali teenagers. It's just the hip hop. I like hip hop. I'm a big fan of it. It's people taking the little fun portion of it and making that their lives. 365 days of the year. They shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
It's kind of like the little kids look up and like, damn, everybody else drinking. What's the name? He's chilling because he has all this money because he's selling weed or something, or selling cloud or something. And like he gets to do all this shit. It's like, why don't I do the same shit? Like why should I go to school? Fuck school. You making how much I would make at a year in a couple of months. You know? He might not know that dude been to jail 5 times.
He can't get with the teachers and the students and what is going on. He's frustrated. His mom is yelling at him, what's wrong with you? Go to school. And he doesn't want to go because he feels embarrassed. He doesn't know what's going on. So there is right now, if you see the percentage of the dropping off of the high school, Somali community, it's very high, especially boys. So that's the problem. Or they became abuse, like drugs or drink or hookah, whatever. Or they go to the jails. The chemical make their mind poison, and they became institution. They became like mental. So there is a lot of problems, issues that coming up right now, and that need to address that problems.
It's like nowadays things are changing. Cause now like the old guys are drinking now, the kids are drinking now, and it's like every year things get worse.
It used to be like if they want to drink, they will go buy a drink or somebody will buy them a drink. They will stand in the corner so nobody else can see them having a drink. Right now, you can see, if you go to downtown Minneapolis, just walking around like Saturday or Friday night, if you're driving through or walking through, you'll see at least 7 out of 8 Somali kids, especially women, drunk as fuck. and walking around. That's what never was acceptable before. Now it's becoming more accepted in our community. The drinking, the smoking, the open sex.
The allure of having fun, you know what I mean? You can have fun, but you can't have too much fun, you know what I mean? For example, liquor. Liquor is against our religion, and we're not supposed to be drinking, but yet you see more and more Somali Americans who are having DUIs and whatnot, and that shouldn't be happening.
They get 20 bucks from the moms that have been working 12-hour shift, and then they buy a bottle or something. Or they might be steal out her purse.
What happens too with that is, this like repeats itself, whether it's alcohol in the Somali community or drugs in a rural community, is like the people that you start hanging out with aren't even your friends anymore. They're just like people that you can do this with.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? In the face of these increasing problems, what hope does our small community have to combat the all-encompassing nature of the American culture? Well, we do have one secret weapon, one that could easily match the stubbornness, determination, and wherewithal of the American culture. Hoya, or moms for you English speakers.
The kids would have been way gone right now if it wasn't for the moms, It's like the old lady's the one that's constantly crying, constantly the one that's, putting pressure on the kids to go to school, to do something that, that's the one that mostly succeeds because of the mom, So it's kind of like, even in that religion, that's the reason why it's like, your mom gets, first comes your mom, second comes your mom, third comes your mom, then comes your dad,
I say it's an overbearing person. Try to run your life. Try to be every aspect of your life. They want to know what you're doing 24 hours a day. My mother calls me at least 6-8 times a day trying to figure out where I'm at or what we're doing, because she's constantly in her back of her mind. She don't want me to end up like other Somali kids.
If I was doing something wrong, the whole community will help me. You know what I mean? If I was trying to smoke, like my neighbors, anybody who knows me in that area, I couldn't do anything that wasn't acceptable in the community. They will let your mom and dad know. They will let your brothers and sisters know. So you will get in trouble. If you try to do something, you have to go out of your comfort zone.
Here we have our neighborhood is hookah, and there is some kids, college kids comes every day here. So if I recognize one of them, I immediately call her mom or dad and tell them what's going on. They think her daughter or son is in the school, but they are coming here at daytime. So if I recognize, I call them or I talk to the kid saying that I will tell your mom what you're doing. She doesn't know. She thinks that you are in the school.
In the Somali community, you have a reputation. You have to uphold that reputation. If you mess up their reputation, someone, I don't know how it happens, but someone will come up and say, you know what, I saw your son drinking on that corner,
Yeah.
Your son was smoking with what's her name, He was in that car with all those kids, And then the pops might be like, he's gone, he's dead to me,
Yep.
But the moms might be like, oh my God, she's gonna call him, she's gonna look for you, she's gonna find you no matter what. I don't know how they do it, but I don't know if they have a tracking device or some shit, but they will find your ass.
Usman Ali, a local historian, invited the community to the Somali Senior Center. There, Mr. Ali displayed many artifacts and tools used by people in Somalia. I invited my close friends Mustafa and Ahmed to join me at Mr. Ali's exhibition. I was hoping that the three of us would come to better understand our parents and the culture that shaped them, and to a lesser extent shaped us, into who we are today.
Oh, goat skin. This is awesome right here. Water bucket. The water bucket holds it. Milk vessel. Oh, it's a milk vessel. It's nice. It's a milk vessel.
What does this do?
What does this do? It's a drum too.
Is this from an animal?
Animal, yes. Sagara waaye.
You could differentiate it. Like you could think like certainly like they still use those like those equipments from back in the day. Like right now they still probably use it. Like, cause it depends on like technology though. Like some certain places in Somalia don't have access to certain kinds of technology, you know, that we're blessed with. Like, you know, like right now, like some places don't have TVs, couches. People still have to use certain milk jars just to carry milk, like instead of just gallons and jugs.
It's shocking to me. I mean, it just shows that how the amenities that I have here in America, I'm happy for it. I'm glad that I'm not living in the state that the people are living with those objects.
Does it make you appreciate what your parents sacrificed more?
A lot. I'd say now that I've seen those artifacts, I'd say it makes me appreciate a lot of the things my parents have done for me. Kids don't admit that they appreciate their parents, but a lot of them are, but they'll never admit it to their parents. I know I would never admit it to them. I'm never going to say it to my parents. You know, it's just more of a pride thing. I'm very appreciative though.
Well, you asked me how this artifact is good for the young generation. The thing is, I am now planning to open a museum, Somali Artifact and Cultural Museum, and for this reason, for the young generation, I'm gonna open this museum just to get a benefit of the artifact, what their ancestors, their grandfathers and grandmothers were using a long time ago. The people who's living here, the young generation, there are two groups. One group is those who born here and born and raised, and the other group is the immigrant who immigrated while they were young here to the United States. So they know nothing about their culture. They know nothing about their artifacts. So I'm going to educate these young people to have educated with their culture and artifacts.
Mr. Ali is on the right track here. He's educating the Somali youth about their history, their culture, and their people. If any change comes to the community, it will be through the efforts of people like Mr. Ali. At the end of the day, the only way to solve the problems in our community will be from within. Our strength lies in each other.
The strength is in the numbers. Basically, the services, the businesses, the personal, in kids, we got schools that you can trust. We got the cultural, language, the religion, schools that you can take your kids. You can go to public school, you can go to private. You have a lot of support and understanding what we need to do.
You know how much shit Somalis could have done if they stuck together? Like, look at this shit. From that floor down to that floor is nothing but Somalis. That floor to that floor is mostly like maybe two people that might not be Somali living that whole floor. Every fucking building. Imagine all these people work together. They could have done a lot of shit.
Italy